we have locally and encouraging the potential that we have. Mr. Speaker, when the government targets taxation on imported items, it is not because we want to target and tax our traders. No. The objective here is to promote the local industries and productivity. Mr. Speaker, we have allowed Kenya to be a supermarket where we are even importing onions. We are about to start importing tomatoes. It's dangerous. Mr. Speaker, any budget, any money that collected from the taxpayers must go towards enhancing local manufacturing and hence productivity. Mr. Speaker, we haven't been targeting very much on value addition. And I've looked at this budget, and what I'm seeing is a deliberate effort to enhance value addition in specific sectors like tea, coffee, dairy, leather industry, and even cotton. I don't want to commend the government. But you see, that is a long-term objective, but it has to start from somewhere. And I want to commend the committee because that's the foundation the committee has started looking at. Mr. Speaker, you know, there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's total lapse in civic education when it comes to the budgeting process. I took a lot of time to explain to the people that the finance bill is the tail end. Actually, what we need to start with at the moment of budget policy statement is when we need to go wider to the public out there and to talk about our budget and our budgeting processes so that our people will know what the government is going through. The president of this republic, I'll never hesitate to say, he means well for this country. And he needs everybody on board so that we can travel this journey of enhancing the economy of this country. Mr. Speaker, I ask the chairman of the committee that we need a lot of civic education so that we collect this misinformation that is out there, especially what this parliament does. This parliament has a responsibility of enhancing this economy short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Mr. Speaker, one of the greatest problems and where the can is bottomless is the procurement in this country. There is need for now to address the entire procurement policy and activities for each MDA. Mr. Speaker, I go to buy a pen in the supermarket. If I go to the ministry, the pen will cost 5 shillings. At the ministry, because of the procurement, they buy it at 10 shillings. This is wastage. There is nothing that is scarce that we cannot amend our procurement and save a lot of money. And that's one of the things that is ailing. Because you find things that somebody is buying a vehicle here from Toyota Kenya at X amount, and somebody else goes through the government procurement, it is almost like it has 20% markup. We need to address that, and the committee have to look at that. Corruption is a major issue, and I thank the committee because they have been pointing the loopholes, and I pointed to them, one of them, that is procurement. Mr. Speaker, the pending bills is another canless. We know for sure there are some guys who cannot account for what they did. Mr. Speaker, there's a contractor in my constituency. He has done nothing. but I think it has been paid almost like 3/4 of the value of the loan. It's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. Mr. Speaker, misdirecting of resources on things that can be collected. And I want to quote Kenya Airways. We have spent a lot of money on Kenya Airways, here in, here out, but nobody has gotten an answer as to what is healing Kenya Airways. This is a very important sector in our country, and Kenya know. And they expect every financial year, Kenya Airways will be given money by the exchequer. We are trying to strive to salvage an entity swallowing Kenyan taxpayers' money here in, here out, and nobody is really coming out and pinpointing the problem that is with Kenya Airways. And those people who come out to pinpoint what is healing Kenya Airways, some of them are sacked. Some of them are removed. And that's an aspect like misdirection of resources and corruption at the same time. I think we need to address these matters. Number 3, I support the president. We can't start new projects when the old projects are incomplete. And the budget, as I'm seeing, the chairman is here, incomplete project. Let's finish the incomplete project. Kenyans, we have lived with this incomplete project for over 20 years. We can wait for 1 more year. We are going to tighten our dressing, our driving, our eating habits. Mr. Speaker, this budget has brought in the element of equality and equity, something that has not been there. The areas said to be marginalized, the areas which requires affirmative action, the areas that requires intervention. And I want to thank the committee for this action, affirmative action on the allocation of resources for electricity. It's very unfortunate that we are where we are. My constituency, Bori constituency, we are 35% connected. And I was very happy when the Finance Bureau was addressing this matter, but people were given the wrong information. We had put a lot of hopes for our people. My people in my constituencies expected a lot of connectivity. I want to thank God because I have 15 minutes, not 5. Because this budget now is geared to that. Mr. Speaker, this country is in a lot of problems in the long term. The issue of climate change. And I want to thank the committee for really emphasizing on this. Mr. Speaker, the most mismanaged sector in this country is education. And I wouldn't like the chairman to run away from hearing this, because he has spent a lot of time talking about the problems in the ministry. Yes, he is in charge of this in this parliament. Right now, the information out there is that
I wanted to request Chair to just allow him conclude.
I'll conclude then because he doesn't.
Honorable Indikiri, you have less than 1 minute.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we really need money. We need infrastructure, even infrastructure. We need equal distribution of money through the ministry. If there's any ministry with a lot of unskilled, imbalanced, and that's why some areas are performing better than others. Some areas have better schools than others. Some areas are funded more than others. Inequality, equity must be exercised by the ministry. Equally, Mr. Speaker, we are pleading that the Ministry of Education comes out with, right now, correct information on the funding of the university. This government is doing quite a lot, but the information out there is not correct. And what I will ask the chairman of budget and the chairman of let me finish that.
Honorable Dido
Yes,
Raso
let me
is
finish.
waiting. Some are behind you there.
Is that we need to have a civic education campaign starting between now. By the time university students go back to the university in September, October, they know that the parents are not being overcharged. It is causing a lot of problems out there. The chairman of budget has put a lot of money for education, but the way it is coming out there, it is not light. So, Mr. Chairman, with those few remarks, I support.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Dido Raso, Vice Chair, the Administration and Internal Affairs Committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And thank you indeed. I think you accommodated myself and Honorable Rindikiri when time had run out. And I think they say that great times call for great leaders. I think that is leadership on your part. And indeed, we are very grateful. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this supplementary budget presented by the Budget Committee. And instantly, I want to thank the chairman and his team. On their feet, once the finance bill was thrown out, they had to come up with fresh numbers so that Kenya will have the budget for 2024-25. And for that reason, I want to thank the chairman of budget for showing great leadership, and also our members who form part of that committee. Honorable Speaker, they say that choices have consequences. And as soon as we were not able to get the finance bill, then we had to cut our cloth to our size. And this is why this particular budget actually is not supplementary. I think we have just redone the budget that we did almost 3 weeks ago in June. And for that reason, I want to thank the House, particularly the Speaker, and the team that has been able to galvanize so that in the end, Kenya gets a budget. Honorable Speaker, I want to just talk on a few issues. First is about security. Listening to our security team, both Interior and the National Police Service, as soon as the austerity measures were announced, I think there was a bit of disquiet because the police hardly have enough vehicles. Many police stations are not adequately manned. They talk about the issue of clothing, the issue of ration, and there are rafts of issues that potentially can undermine the security of our people, particularly those who don't live in towns or major centers. So for that reason, whereas austerity measures are good and important, we must look at those areas or those things that should never compromise the security of our people wherever they may be. Secondly, the Ministry of Interior was going to come up with many sub-counties, locations, sub-locations, to be able to provide services closer to the people, where you are going to have the DCCs, the ACCs, the chiefs and the assistant chiefs. But with austerity measures, even some of the ongoing projects of construction of new sub-counties are likely to be defaulted. This will have potential in affecting service provision to our people, particularly those areas that are underserviced by the national government. These in itself are some of the areas that maybe in supplementary too, we must deeply reflect to see that where is money going to be put if resources are found. Honorable Speaker, you sit in my committee. We were able to visit the sub-counties and counties in the North Rift that are terribly affected by insecurity. With austerity measures, we see potential of some of the bandits or those armed groups likely to regain their position and affect us once again. Because for us, when you gain ground, when you are able to place your right foot forward and restore security in an area, then you don't expect regression. And not putting enough resources into security may have a potential danger in that area. Honorable Speaker, the other issue, looking at this budget, as a committee, we were looking at the issues of duplication and also overlap of mandate, particularly in state departments that basically do coordination of government services. And as the committee of appropriations sit, they must do a tooth comb to see that government is not overly duplicating or overly coordinating. Those resources can really go to dire areas to provide service to our people. Honorable Speaker, the other area that is really of concern is those departments that are able to have good A&Es. The government printer is one of them. The immigration is the other. If we put enough resources into the government printer, because basically they are the ones who are printing all government documents, all confidential documents of government of Kenya. If we put enough resources, that government printer is able to run the Ministry of Interior. The immigration, we have seen that immigration is able to plow to the national coffers close to 100 billion shillings. If we put enough resources into that department of government, then we see the potential of that particular department giving us enough resources. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Dido Raso, how many more minutes do you need to conclude? I see we are on the hour.
Maybe just 3 minutes, Honorable Speaker.
3 minutes?
Yes.
Not hurrying.
Yes.
Because the other alternative is that we postpone you to tomorrow.
I think I'm just finishing.
So then finish.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that magnanimity. So for that reason, if we put enough money in those departments that are able to plow enough A&A into the national coffers, then that is where we should put our money. Secondly, it is about the livestock sector. It is a very important sector, particularly for us, the pastoralist communities. We occupy 70% of the Kenya's rangeland. Our mainstay of that economy is livestock. This government, for the first time in history, they were able to put 1 billion into the restocking of livestock following that terrible drought that we experienced almost over 3 years. And that is money, if properly put and checked and adequately tailored to meet the objective of bringing back the pastoralist economy, then I think we are on the right track. I want to plead with the Honorable Chair of the Budget. There is money called the Equalization Fund. If you can get a few shillings from equalization to restocking, then I think the pastoralist communities will be really happy about that. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to just say as follows. For Kenya to be an industrialized country, middle income as
Tuko bora kwenye mitandao ya YouTube, Facebook, TikTok na X kwa taarifa tendeti, udadavuzi mwafaka na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu. Tazama Sound Candid Talk upate ufahamu. Lokichar, Kanamkamer, Takwel, Kakuma, Lodwa, Loima, Lokichogyo, Lokiriama, Kalokol, Lobei. Turkana is watching. Kutoka Ongata, Rongai, Kajiado hadi Rongai, Nakuru. Hii ni Sound Candid Talk.